Welcome to the Scale Model Podcast. In this podcast, we aim to entertain, inform, and promote the hobby of scale model kit building with interviews, reviews, and news about the hobby. The podcast is available bi-weekly where your favorite podcasts are found. You can also get it from our website at scalemodelpodcast.com, where you can find show notes, photo gallery, and so much more. You can also subscribe to get notifications on all our updates, new episodes, and video content. Please support the Scale Model Podcast on Patreon. Patreon supporters enjoy early access to content and exclusive contests. Your Patreon support helps us to offset hosting and other costs to bring the podcast to you. Welcome to episode 154 of the Scale Model Podcast, sponsored by Cult TV Men and Sean's Custom Model Tools. I'm one of your hosts, Stuart Clark, and we've got 4 people in total tonight. 4 so-called experts. All right. That laugh you heard was, of course, from the I would say from the North Shore of Lake Erie, but he's actually in his city abode.
Yes.
In West London tonight, Mr. Geoff Highland. How are you, sir?
I'm good. I'm unshaven and slovenly because I spent the last 2 days in Toronto caring for my aged mother. And you would think that I would dress up for her, but no, I've known her my whole life. Forget it. Not going to bother.
Terrible son. Terrible son. I tell you, your mother's awesome. You be nice to your mother.
Yes, she's 90, almost 95, so she's doing fine.
There we go. She's gonna outlive you just to piss you off.
She will do that. That is her nature. Yes.
That is her nature. Mothers do that. Mine's in her 80s and does the same thing.
All Geoff, right. It seems like you're joining us from your bunker.
Yes, it does feel like that.
Or his hobby shop.
I'm in my modeling bunker.
The hobby bunker.
And that other voice, of course, you heard is Mr. Terry Measley from west of Chicagoland. How are you, sir?
Good evening, gentlemen. Doing pretty well.
All right, and we're also joined by a fourth, and Terry, I'm going to let you introduce him.
Hi, you've heard Neil Prentice's name mentioned in nothing but glowing terms on the podcast numerous times here. Neil is a founding member of our local club, the Tech Mages. I've known him since shortly after I moved up here. Back in we probably met in '96. I want to say back at Elaine's Hobbies, '96 or '95 maybe. No, yeah, 96 or 97. Yeah.
Yeah. It wasn't that long after I moved up here.
Right.
Well,
so Neil works as a machinist, among other things.
Cool.
And does tremendous armor and science fiction modeling and basements and porches and
I could use them up here.
I just finished this whole basement that I'm sitting in right now. I don't want to do another one.
That's fair. Totally get that.
All right. Well, we've got an exciting topic when we're talking about workshops and spaces and stuff like that tonight, but we're going to get to that eventually. But of course, thanks to our Patreon and Buy Me a Coffee supporters. And as well, we really appreciate that because it helps those help offset the costs of keeping the podcast going and buying some swag for things like Heritage Con. So, there we go. Also, check out our What We Like page. I've recently updated some of the book lists, so they'll be up there. So you can check out to see what we're reading. And of course, we'll talk about that a little bit later on. Okay, first of all, breaking news. We're recording this on St. Patrick's Day on the Monday. The last surviving Battle of Britain pilot, John Paddy Hemingway, DFC, passed away today. So I posted a link to the RAF webpage, which had a very glowing obituary. So he was also the last surviving Battle of France pilot. He flew Hurricanes during the Battle of Britain. Had a couple of kills. Quite the story. He's Irish, obviously, but quite lucky over the years. He was shot down a total of 4 times, and he was awarded the Distinguished Flying Cross from the King in 1st of July 1941. His journey to London to receive his DFC from the King began with him escaping from a wrecked Blenheim aircraft, which crashed on takeoff.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
So and then later on, he was in a night fighter, in a Havoc night fighter. He had to bail out at 600 feet due to instrument failure and bad weather, breaking his hand on the tail section. Paddy's parachute failed to open properly, and he was saved further injury as the chute caught on the branches of a tree. So,
He
that's
was
just
not meant to, he was not meant at that time to go.
no,
No.
definitely not. No, and like I said, he was definitely the last of the few.
Yeah.
So that's the last surviving Battle of Britain pilot. He was 105.
Wow.
So
Wow.
a life
That's something, yeah.
well lived. And again, this is worth reading the obituary about him. So what we say from the podcast, blue skies, sir.
Blue skies.
Blue
The
skies
end of
indeed.
an era.
End of an era. So the other thing that's happened is the heritage. By the time you guys are hear this, we'll probably be on the road or just getting ready to go to Heritage Con. But the Musaru Cup entries were all submitted and they've all been posted. So you can go to the Heritage Con Musaru Cup section of the IPMS Hamilton website. I posted a link and see all the Musaru Cup entries. So looks like a record number number this year. It looks like only 2 podcasts failed to get theirs in time.
Yeah.
So and we're of course biased, but we think Terry's is the best.
Well, I don't think there's any question on that point.
Well, exactly.
It is interesting. 2 of us chose the same Reaper Miniatures Kraken to use, but employed it differently.
I think it's funny. Yep, you and Rob Adams from the Modeling Insanity podcast. Rob's actually going to be at the show.
Oh, great!
So you're going to get a chance to meet him as well. So there'll be at least 2 folks in the Modeling Insanity, a couple of folks, Kentucky Dave and Mike from the Mojo. John Bonani's going to be there. There'll be a few people there representing podcasts. We're all going to be there, so it's going to be a good time at one of Canada's best shows, in the absolute best place to have a model show, the Canadian Warplane Heritage Museum.
All right.
So if you happen to hear this on Saturday night, you can still make it on Sunday. Just saying. Okay, the mailbag. We got a nice email from Dave Kenzie. Hi guys, listening to episode 153. I want to commend you for your literature reading, the novels by Philip Kerr. He wrote a series of 13 books where the protagonist is a German policeman. They begin during the Weimar Republic. I know I just screwed that up.
The Weimar Republic.
Weimar Republic, thank you. Span the Nazi period and continue to the post-World War II era. The writing style leans heavily towards Raymond Chandler. They are not for the squeamish, however, as the historical accuracy is pretty spot on. I recommend starting with Kerr's final volume, Metropolis, which is set historically before the rest of the books in the series. As a testament to how much I like these books, I've read the entire series twice.
Wow.
Lastly, and I realized this afterwards, in regard to the new Edward 109E kit that Adolf Galland had the most aerial victories, it actually was Eric Hartman.
Yes, it was.
Yeah. Well, how come you didn't tell me?
Well, you know what? It's funny. Interestingly enough, I just finished reading a biography about, or an a biography of Eric Hartman that I picked up from that collection of books from Family Estate.
Okay.
And it made it very clear, this guy, because he wasn't dead at the time when this book was written, made it very clear that he was the best. He made it very, very clear.
There we go. Oh, okay. Typical fighter pilot, right?
Very much so, yes.
Very much so. And then Martin Holst reached out from Holland.
Yep, he sent me a Facebook message. So, hoi, Martin.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Hoi.
All
Hoi?
right. Hoi?
Hoi.
H-O-I? Hoi.
Could say yo. Yo, Martin.
Yo.
We're probably
Okay.
butchering that.
We're probably
I
are.
mean, it's
Well, what
it's-
else is new?
it's Dutch.
You know what? We make the effort. We try. And we
I
make fun
know.
of ourselves in the process. So there you go.
Okay, also hot off the presses today as we get into our news segment, hot off the presses, not a big surprise, but Kateri, they've announced for late 25, early 26, a Hurricane Mark 1 in 1/32nd scale. That's going to be gorgeous.
Yeah, this is so good, such good news for a company like the quality that they produce. A company that of this quality, they are obviously being successful because they've done the Spitfire series, the Messerschmitt, the ME 109, and now they're going into the Hurricane. I'm so pleased for them.
And a lot of optional parts, 2 and 3 blade propellers, 3 styles of exhaust manifold, 2 styles of undercarriage door, unarmored and armored windscreens, ring and bead and reflector gun sights, pilot seat with and without safety harness detail and armor plating, 2 styles of wing joint fairings, and short and tall rudders and tail wheel fairings. They're going to be 3 decal option. Will include a very early production pre-war aircraft, an aircraft from the Battle of France, and an aircraft from the Battle of Britain.
Mm,
Now, again, these are CAD renderings, but yeah,
They look great.
they look great. It's going to be
it's great.
good.
Yeah, excellent subject. Hard to argue with this.
No, absolutely.
Yep, no arguments at all with that one. All right, let's move on from our friends at the Modeling News. 6 releases from Italeri in March. So we start with the big Scania 770 4x2 normal roof gray cab, 124 scale. Again, these European trucks always look cool.
Yeah, they do.
Yep.
Lots of decals, 15 different number plates from alternate countries. Lots of different schemes. Looks like 2 schemes, reflective stickers, plus masks. And some photo etch.
It's a lot of
Yep,
parts.
lots of little bits.
Lots of little
Oh, yeah.
bits
Wow.
there. Yep. Then we have a Mirage F1 in 148 scale, the CCR model. This is the well-known French aircraft that was produced for years back in the 60s. The French entered service with the French Air Force at the end of 73, and within a few years replaced the earlier Mirage 3 fleet. So swept wing design, some nice looking decals and tail schemes.
Yeah, stir for quite a while. I don't know whether this is a new one or not, but the Mirages are always cool looking aircraft.
They
Four
are.
different,
They're
4 different schemes.
yeah. Always the classic paper airplane aircraft.
Yes, the Dart.
The Dart. Yeah.
The Dart. Next up, we've got a Sukhoi 33 Flanker D, 1/72nd scale. This is the C flanker, so this is the naval version. And again, a lot of nice decals. Looks like you've got 3 different schemes.
I do like the color schemes on this plane.
Yep.
If
Does it not
only
have-
it,
Does it
Sorry,
not
Neil?
have floating wings on that one?
I don't think it doesn't say if it does or not. From
It
what
does
I
look-
see here, it doesn't look like it does.
no, doesn't
No.
look like it.
What's with
Yeah.
that?
It almost looks like an F-18 kind of thing, but
Well, yeah, it was an air superiority fighter.
as opposed to a 14.
It's a big aircraft, though. People don't
Yeah.
realize how large it is compared to some other ones.
Oh yeah. I just love the color schemes. The blue and blue is beautiful.
Hmm.
Yep. Next up, we have another self-propelled gun from Italy, the M43 105-25 Bassato.
Ah,
Self-propelled gun.
Valente.
I love these
There you-
color schemes.
I don't love trying to paint those color schemes.
No.
But I love the
No.
look of them. They're aspirational. They're aspirational. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, it was based on the modified, widened, and lowered chassis of an M15 tank and equipped with the El Saldo 105 howitzer. And again, bunch of different schemes, 4 different schemes.
Yep.
With some slight variations in the camouflage. Yeah, all of which will be fun to paint.
I was going to say, and like all Italian stuff, none of them are going to be easy.
Yeah, they
the-
did. It was considered the most powerful Italian armored vehicle used during the war,
And still not more than 5 feet tall.
and still not more than 5 feet tall. Exactly. A little bit of photo etch, metal barrel, lots of parts. Looks like Lincoln length tracks. Okay, then continuing
Not bad.
Italeri's collaboration with the designers in the War Thunder game,
Mhm.
F-16 Fighting Falcon, a War Thunder edition. Looks like you get some special bonus, probably some bonus credits for the game. When you buy this, you'll get a code which will give you X amount of this, X amount of that for a while.
Yeah.
So again, a good way of tying it in. Some nice looking schemes here.
500,000 silver lions.
There you go.
Okay.
That's
There's
in-game
one of your
currency.
bonus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And an F3, F2 biplane.
And you can rent a torpedo boat for. You get a torpedo boat. You can rent the F-16 for 7 days, and unique skin forever, and an M4 Sherman, and a P-40E. Like all sorts of
There you
things here.
go. I don't recall seeing one of these War Thunder kits in 48th before, though.
Yeah, so
Interesting.
yeah, that's new. They were 72nd, so that's interesting. Obviously, they've had good success with them in 72nd, and the 48th F-15 isn't a huge aircraft
No,
by
it's
any
not.
means. So,
F16, yeah.
yeah, Oh, what did I say? Did I say F-14?
Said 15.
I said, oops.
But yeah, the
Okay.
16 is not a big plane.
All right.
No, it's not.
So
So-
just how you have aircraft in War Thunder, you also have tanks, and they also have a 135th scale Leopard 2A4. And again, similar sort of thing. What their existing Leopard kit, 4 different marking choices, and a lot of bonuses.
Yeah. Interesting tie-in.
Well, you're seeing it more and more because people, they see these things, and you also see it the other way, where you see tanks that were originally in World of Tanks or War Thunder. You're
Yeah.
seeing them actually kitted out now, paper Panzers
Yeah.
and stuff like that. So it's interesting. It obviously benefits both ways. So exactly. Okay, TACOM announced these, and this I know got some people's attention. 3 Cold War kits from TACOM in 135th scale. Sorry, the 1 in 172nd scale, and 1 and 2 in 135th. A T-57 heavy tank. That was an
Yes.
experimental one discovered by the Americans. You like this one, do you, Neil?
Oh, I love weird tanks, especially with bad ideas for turrets like that.
Yeah.
120 millimeter rifle gun. 2 turrets were constructed and mounted on T-43 hulls for testing purposes.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out what the hull was. Yeah, T-43.
Yep, interesting design.
Huh.
Yeah, oscillating turrets works great with a 75 millimeter gun, but 120?
Not so much. Not so much. Looks like it's going to come with a metal barrel, clear parts, obviously. A diagram showing the oscillation of the kit's turrets. And the suspension's going to be workable, apparently. And it comes with a jig for the tracks, for the workable tracks. Next up is a T-58 heavy tank, similar idea. This one was developing a tank equipped with a 155 millimeter gun. A January 1952 document outlines specifications for the new heavy tank. Creation of 2 prototype turrets with autoloaders.
That is a weird looking thing, eh?
Yep.
Very
Love it.
strange.
Yeah, but again, exactly. Again, metal barrel, clear parts, workable tracks, workable suspension.
I mean, how do you know it's a failure until you fail, right?
That's right. You have to try it.
Exactly.
Well, it was a French idea to start with, so that should give you a hint right there.
Do we have any French listeners? I hope not.
There goes the ratings in France.
Man.
Let me remind you all of Geoff's email. It is
Yeah.
okay. Then 1/72nd scale, good for different things. A M911C HET with M747 heavy equipment semi-trailer from TACOM. So this is a U.S. around 1977.
It's a beast.
Yep. Maximum payload is 68.95 tons. This was before the M1070. So yeah, haul all sorts of things. Just under 200 were built. Yep. Used during Desert Shield and Desert Storms. They were used primarily to haul M1 Abrams tanks.
Even at 172nd, it's going to be a big thing.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Neat.
Yeah, that's going to look like will be good for the armor guys. Okay. Also, speaking of 135th aircraft, our friends at Lukegraf they're going to do a Grumman Duck, the Grumman J2 F5 Duck in 132nd scale. Here's the first CADs.
Love it.
Yes.
This is such an interesting. Look at that engine.
Yep.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. This is beautiful.
These were used by so many groups and organizations, and
I can totally see you getting one, Terry.
if I do, it's going to be a Coast Guard.
Yep. See, he's already thinking. He's already
He's already got it. Coast Guard attacking a
full
giant
interior, instrument panel and seats.
Wow.
The only thing you may need to add is some wiring, but even then.
No, Luke Graff, all their kits just look astonishing.
Yeah. The kit will introduce a new standard with a vacuum form canopy, complemented by 3D printed frames. This
Good-looking
innovation allows
figures.
modelers to easily cut out the
Interesting.
glazing from the blister and paint the frame separately without masking. I like that.
Huh. Oh, we've seen this recently with injection molded kits too.
Yes,
For
we
the
have.
frame and the, yeah.
Hmm.
They've
Hmm.
also included a catapult trolley and pilot figurines.
Nice.
This looks really nice. Look at the weighted wheels. That's pretty good.
Yep.
Those
Figures look
depth
good
charges,
too.
those depth charges under the wings too.
Looks like it.
It would
Oh.
have carried, yeah. It would have carried them.
Three optional paint schemes. The Grumman
Yeah.
from the Fleet Air Photographic Unit in the Atlantic 41. Here's your U.S. Coast Guard
Mhm.
aircraft. Avoid the USCG Cutter Storis, March 44, and a color for Argentinian Navy scheme in
Very nice.
1956. So Luke Graff always has a dangerous website. There's a link there.
Yeah, it's worth looking through just to see what these guys are doing.
Oh, I know. Always.
Like Kotare, they're setting the bar for their stuff. For these, they were resin cast and all that. Now they're largely switched over to 3D printed.
Yeah.
I'm sure some of it's. I'm not sure some of it's still resin. It may not be anymore.
May not be anymore, but we'll see.
Does look like it's all 3D printed.
Hmm.
Well, those are the CADs, right? Those are renders.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if it's all 3D printed.
No, maybe those aren't renders. That's a good question.
Yeah, it says CAD, I believe, at the top.
Hmm.
But there we go. All right, something for the
Yeah.
car guys. Here's something for you, Geoff, to pop down to the grocery store. An Alpha model Ferrari SF90.
Hobby
Alpha
Zero.
models. Yep.
Honestly, it's just a little too pretentious for my taste.
124 scale, SF90. XX Stradale model kit.
This is
Never
what I'll
get over the speed bumps.
Yeah, this is what I'll get when I trade in my Tesla, right? That's what I next
Yeah, the next odds of you getting a Tesla. Yeah, exactly.
Zero. Yeah, exactly.
This is an
Beautiful.
upcoming Ferrari supercar. So someone got the license.
Wow.
It's got a hint of a GT40 thing about it that I do like. So
Yeah.
there's that. And you
Look at
missed
those seats.
you missed the Hansa Brandenburg
Did I miss
Wow.
the handsome? I was getting so excited there. All
about
right,
the Alpha. Yeah.
yeah.
Oh,
All right,
another Luke
we'll go
Graff,
back
yeah.
from Luke Graff. Let's go back and talk about the 132nd Hansa Brandenburg, another World War One kit that apparently, according to the World War One aficionados, at least on Brit Modeler, are very much looking forward to.
I'm just pleased to see somebody picking out the baton from Wingnut Wings and continuing in highly detailed, highly researched 132nd scale First World War machines. So that's pretty cool.
This one will include a pilot and as many of 8 paint schemes, and there's going to be a premium version, which will have additional decals with imitation canvas wood and camouflage from one of the paint schemes, reinforced struts, landing gear and wings, 2 versions of the rudder. And they say, yeah, it's a smaller model in 32nd, but the other thing is, importantly, this can be your first biplane. You don't have to worry about rigging.
No, you don't have rigging because you got a whole bunch of 2x4s holding the wings
Well,
together.
exactly. You don't have to worry about rigging. I like that.
That is some impressive geometry for wing struts right
No,
there.
no kidding. No kidding. That would not be easy to fabricate.
No. But that's
Anyway.
going to be fun. And further down in the scheme, they show some of the schemes,
Yes.
various colors. All right, moving on. The 3D printed British Humber front wheel drive 4x4. No, it's not a Land Rover. It's a Humber.
Oh, I like that.
That's kind of funky looking, isn't it?
Isn't that cool?
That would fit right on Neil's shelf. I'll
You're
tell
going to
you,
get it
with
in
this
35th,
trucks.
48, or 72nd scale. Full interior engine, numerous posable features. So that looks pretty cool.
That
I
looks
like
fun.
it. I like it a lot.
3D,
Yeah.
It's even got a
3D
sunroof.
printed.
Got a sunroof. I
Yep.
love it. Yeah.
Yep, even got it. Yep, but this was very well used during the war.
It is a funky looking machine, that's for
Yeah.
sure. Certainly different. That's nice.
I mean, it's
Yep.
just a basic,
Truck.
staff truck sort of thing. It's really
Yeah.
nice.
Yep, basically.
There's a open bed version of it too,
Yep.
apparently.
Closable features, engine hood, cab doors, both front and back can be posed open or closed. Comprehensive chassis suspension, lots of decals. Online manual ensures clear and accessible instructions for assembly. And over 40 high quality 3D printed parts.
Pretty good.
Good size.
Yep. Yep.
They're saying it'll be the 35th one will be about 95 euros, the 48th will be 59 euros, and the 72nd will be 39 euros. And 15 within the EU, 10 euros to ship. Other countries, 15. Yeah, those CAD renderings are looking really good.
Very nice.
Like it.
All right, what's new from Hasegawa?
Candy store, roulette game.
Yeah, I notice now in the past we had to go switch to Google if we were using Firefox. Firefox now translates
Yeah,
from
I noticed
Japanese
that.
to England to English. So we've got a 1/12th or 1/12th vending machine series continues with the little roulette machine. We got a Honda XLR Baja.
Baja.
Baja, thank you.
Baja.
I knew that and I said it wrong anyway. God, I'm as bad as Goldfinch, I tell you. And then some classic Toyotas.
Celica 1600 GT. I remember that one.
Yep. The Celicas,
Yeah,
little sporties.
little fair lady.
Oh,
Never liked the 300 ZX series. I was a 240 man all the way.
240s are prettier.
How about the Tando rough terrain crane?
Yeah, I love these. I haven't built any of them, but I'm probably gonna pick this one up because this is great.
That does if it's got the functional kind of leveling
Well,
features
open it up. You'll see it.
Yeah, open the link there. It shows you has a
yeah.
has a
Oh,
guy.
yeah, look at that.
I love it. You can extend the boom at least part way.
Nice.
Probably the whole way.
That
Yeah, it
looks
looks like
great.
it.
That would be fun.
In 35th scale.
Yeah.
I love it.
And then for the truck guys, I see because I remember this when I was a kid, the 1970 Ford F-350 ramp truck.
I remember this too.
You remember that?
Yeah,
So
for
Mobius has the mold.
Very nice.
Yeah, just so cool looking. Well, they did release the F-350 pickup truck recently as well, so I'm not surprised. But
Kind of a weird, like, I mean, even if you look at it, it really does not look like it was designed in one go. It looks like you
No.
took an F-150 front end and just slammed this wedge of cheese on the back of it.
yeah,
Well, sure.
Built to suit is the term.
Yeah, exactly.
and that's scheduled to come out in May this year. From Model Roundup, it's going to be about $40. So standard
that'll-
price for a newer truck.
Well, it's a built-in diorama structure. So there you go.
Yeah.
Exactly. You can do what you want there. All right. Now let's go on to the truly dangerous part. What's new at scalemates.com?
Haha.
So for brand new listeners, we look at Scalemates, we look at just new tool full kits. So Copper State models. So for March 17th, Copper State models, British military bicycle, the Mark IV in 1/32 scale. That's kind of cool.
I mean, I imagine it's a lot better detailed than the old Tamiya attempts at bicycles. So
Exactly. Obviously, there's the Cotero Hurricane.
yeah,
What's
a
this?
Polish half track
Yep.
in 1/72. That would be interesting.
The WZ-34. And then in the 16th, looks like a Polish aircraft, the PZL-104, Wilga 1
Nice.
in 1/72 scale. Also keeping the Polish theme, one of their trainers, the PZL I-22.
Irida.
Yep.
Yeah.
Or how about a 20-foot cargo container in 1/24 from Fujimi?
Love it. You got to have them.
And
Can
then
put your car in it.
Yep, something from Megalomania Unlimited Universe, Green Glass.
I don't know the
Megalomaria.
series.
Megla
Yeah.
Maria. Oh, interesting.
Wow.
Yep.
Actually, I have been building one of the ones out of this series earlier this week.
Yeah.
Yeah, the plastic's a little on the soft side, but it's not a bad kit.
Well, Kotobukiya usually does pretty well.
So I assume it's from some Japanese anime or something
You,
like that.
you hear how effortlessly that slipped off of Terry's tongue?
Yeah.
Kotobukiya.
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 I don't know. Some of these are just series of models. They're not really
They're not really TV
part
or
of them.
IP or books or
I mean, it has a Gundam look to it, but that's the head.
yeah. But definitely some sort of Japanese
It could
IP.
be. I really don't know it.
Yeah.
I just picked it up because I wanted to build something a little different.
Yeah,
So I gave it a shot.
Cool.
That's actually a good motivation.
it
Good
is.
reason.
How about a D3A2 Val in 148 from Wingsy?
I will be buying one. That's for sure.
The Type 99
I love the
carrier base
Val.
bomber. Yep. And then from AFE Club, Adelaide class guided missile frigate and the Santa Maria class frigate. Looks like a 2-in-1.
Yeah,
Huh.
1/700 scale. So
Yeah.
2-in-1 is what you
Yeah,
need.
quite small.
Yeah. More importantly, the cryptozoology series, The Mothman from Pegasus
Yes.
Hobbies in
One
1/8
1/8,
scale.
the old classic Reeboks. It's the Mothman. Another German protected cruiser, the SMS Victoria Louise from 1899, 1/700 scale.
Yeah.
Aladdin models got two different engines, two Ferrari engines, Colombo V12 and the 250 TR engine,
Wow.
1/12 scale.
Oof.
And also,
They've got a bunch of new things.
just looking down here. Yeah, they've also got the 312, the V12, 312P, and some of the full interior with engine, 112 Ferrari 312P, 312P Spider, and the 625 TRC in big 112 scale.
That's nice. That's a 3D digital file.
Mm-hmm. What else do we have here? We've got Mobile Suit Gundam 00880 War in the Pocket, Draken E from Bandai Spirits, a high grade. A World War I water cart,
That looks cool.
1/35 scale.
What the 700 scale cannons?
Yep.
Are those parked on top of a yen coin?
It looks like they're parked on top of a Euro. Yeah, 17 centimeter and a 15 centimeter set. And they've also got a German 88 mil flak 36 and 38 set.
For those who don't have enough storage space.
Or room to
display
wargame.
space.
Yeah.
Yeah. Perfect.
Oh, Packard Merlin engine mounted on a P-51 Mustang frame from Aladdin models in 112.
You know, in 12?
Yep.
Ooh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
And a Hellcat cockpit. 1/12 again. Aladdin's obviously, they must be doing some 3D printing, but this fire starter with these 1/700 sets, all sorts of things. Pack 40 with a with a towing vehicle.
Look at them all.
700th is
What the
Tiny.
hell is a Molga? Oh my God. An
Where-
EZ-006 Molga insect type in 1/72nd scale.
Where are you?
you're way down.
I just dropped down.
Oh yeah, that's a
from
Zoid.
it's Zoids. Yep.
Yeah, Zoids.
Zoids. Yep.
Intriguing.
Harley Davidson board truck racer 8 valve from 6 models in 1/24 scale.
Oh wow.
Oh, Aladdin models also is coming out with a 1/24 scale Hawker Hurricane. That's a 3D data file and a Hellcat. Now,
In
the
30
Hawker
seconds.
Hurricane says it's a free download.
Huh.
Interesting.
Hmm.
I mean,
In 1/24 scale?
yeah, that's going to be big.
That wouldn't fit in my printer.
Nope.
Full,
Well,
full interior with engine. Free download. That I don't know if that's a misprint or not. That
Well, it
sounds
says it twice. So I'll
Huh.
have to look them up.
Yeah.
I'll have to look them up. So we'll see. I'm sure that'll make its way onto the various sites. Okay. U.S.
What?
medium tank TV-8.
There you go, Neil.
10th.
What is that?
That is a very odd thing. That's like
That's
one of those Soviet Object 90 or whatever
Yeah.
it is type tanks.
Oh, this is the type that would float, I believe. It would swim.
Yeah, because it looks like somebody took an upturned boat and dumped it on a
Yep.
snowcat.
That's got
It stuck a big gun on the prow.
see that is you written all over it.
Gun on the prow and a commander's turret with a minigun in it.
Yeah, it's got
Yes,
a
look at that.
double minigun rotary.
This
kiln.
is
I'm definitely gonna have to get this.
this should have shown up in Aliens,
And a big ass spotlight because everyone has to know where to shoot you.
Yeah, exactly.
With the louver covers on the front of it, like
Yes.
so it's a naval spotlight.
So you can send messages to those you're about to destroy.
Yeah.
Perfect.
All righty.
It's an Aldous lamp.
That's about it. And then we're back to where we were before, previous shows.
Oh my.
But yeah, see, we're in the golden age. Some goofy stuff.
Honestly, I was just going to say the same thing. I can't remember how there's just so many different things coming out now. It's the freedom of 3D printing, I think.
Well, I think that's it exactly. So, you
Yeah.
know, very cool.
Fantastic.
Very cool. All right. Let's move on to another also very cool guy and company. You love my segues, right?
I love the segues.
Yeah.
They're so desperate. Yeah.
You know,
Aw.
Steve at Cult TV Man. Always cool stuff from there. So let's just take a moment and talk about it. Lots of exciting new things at culttvmanshop.com, mostly in the figure side of things. So you figure painters, pay attention here. The new Red Sonja, they're going to get that in this week. 1/8 scale from X Plus for $64,999. They've also got Ray Harryhausen's Goddess Kali, the vinyl model from the Golden Voyage of Sinbad for $149.99. The Centaur vinyl model from the Golden Voyage of Sinbad, $159. And from the Seventh Voyage of Sinbad, the Two-Horned Cyclops, $159.99. Also, the Bubo from Clash of the Titans, the Chrome Statue 1-to-1 from Star Race, $399.99. That's a gorgeous, gorgeous looking thing. Also, Harryhausen's Skeleton Resin Model Jason of the Argonauts, $199.99. Also, really exciting, you can pre-order the Mothman 1/8 scale from Pegasus Hobbies. That's going to be coming later this year or early next year. They were expecting it in 2025. They're holding off on listing a price right now, but they expect it to be in the $40 to $55 range. So lots of gorgeous stuff as always. You're going to see them, of course, at Pelican Con in Tampa, Florida on April 26, 2025, and of course at Wonderfest in Louisville, Kentucky, May 31st to June 1st. So don't forget to check out all your sci-fi and monster needs at culttvman.com and tell them the Scale Model Podcast sent you. All right, there we go. We forgot to tell Neil at the beginning, we actually pause for our ads for 5 seconds and then I insert them in later in post.
We're very professional here.
I did gather, yeah.
I don't think
gathered
that was hard to figure out.
Okay. Topic.
It was
Terry. Oh, so go ahead, Geoff.
What?
No. I was just going to say something obnoxious. So go ahead, Terry.
You're going to say
It wasn't
something?
me. I didn't do nothing. You can't prove anything.
Exactly.
Okay, Calvin.
The Bart Simpson approach.
Or Bart. Yeah, exactly. Okay. Terry was talking about this because he's been reading Adam Savage's book. So
Yeah,
Terry, we're going to let you go ahead.
And I can't recommend the book highly enough. Emily was completely right, as Emily usually is. So
Yes.
Yes, you should know better than to think otherwise.
yeah. So his sections on organization were really interesting on how he approaches stuff, both from the mobile toolboxes, which Neil's going to love, to the shop and how he has evolved over time from just pure chaos to putting everything. His philosophy is everything within reach and easy to find, right? Not you don't have to go look for something. You don't have to go into the other room if you're in your workbench and everything. So it's been bugging me for a long time. My workspace is not big, and I've got a big ass Craftsman cabinet that's stuffed to the gills of stuff. But I still have to root through to find the stuff. So that's going to end. So with some of the leftover bits from the shadow box, some foam core, I decided, okay, well, I'm going to make an organizer because so I had him do it. He's like, oh, that's easy. He's made his out of foam sheet so he can curve it and stuff like that. And I don't really need to do that.
Fancy schmancy.
Well, I just having fun with a hot glue gun, right?
Yeah.
I it wasn't until this project that I actually had a hot glue gun. I bought one for this project, and now I'm like, why didn't I have one of these?
They are useful.
They really
It can
are.
be.
So I wanted to get Neil and Geoff in here as well because they've both been tearing apart and reorganizing their shops and such. Neil's dad passed away last year, right?
2 years
ago. And his hobby was RC aircraft, which takes a lot of space.
Mhm.
And when you go through a decline like that, it's very disturbing to see anything change. So they couldn't really change a whole lot. But now they're doing a lot to the house and deciding. And Anthony's doing the same thing. His entire basement is cleared out, and he's rebuilding from the start. So we've got a couple different ways of doing it. And I know, Stu, you were talking about it too, about just needing to get the chaos under a little bit of control.
Yep.
So yeah, this weekend I cleared out the easiest of the drawers, which was essentially a bunch of mixing materials, cups and things like that, and built a tray to go in there, different sizes, and got it in there and added the stuff. Got rid of most of the stuff, put more stuff in that was just laying around. So on the positive, it was a savings and throwing away shit too. So that was good. And it was kind of fun. It was actually really satisfying building this little tray out of foam core.
Yeah.
Slicing it down and building it.
Yeah, we will have pictures in the show notes.
It was a feeling of accomplishment.
Well, it looks great. I mean, it really does look quite good. I'm curious though. The thing that always kind of slows me down or trips me up when I'm doing this same kind of thing that you're talking about is what philosophy do you use to organize things? Like what do you put with what kind of thing? You know
So
what I mean?
this is the low-hanging fruit drawer, right? This is mixing material. So there's cups, beakers, pipettes. I put box of gloves in there because that they belong in there as well. Whether I put more stuff or move stuff out, that goes on. But this is stuff that you will need to use it. I've got little plastic lids and things like that stack up in there because you're going to mix stuff on that epoxy putty or whatever, and then throw them away.
Yeah.
Um,
So I'm curious what you're going to do with your next drawer. Like what's the next attack?
There's a couple choices for the next drawer. There's one that's full of just stuff. And I'm thinking probably the easy thing to do would be either to take my drawer that has all these pens and brushes and such in and move them to that drawer. Or I could start filling it up with like essentially abrasives, sanding material, files, that kind of stuff.
Oh gosh, that stuff grows like topsy. It's crazy. It's like it's breeds inside the drawer.
That drawer probably needs to be relatively high for where I'm grabbing stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I might do the brushes and pens and stuff. Because and half the pens are probably dead, so I should probably get rid of them.
That's a big
What
thing
is it
I always
about
tell
pens?
people.
What is it about pens that we cannot seem to throw the pens out?
I know.
Yeah.
I tell my wife constantly. I've made it a habit. When I was doing version 2 of the workshop here, I was going through and both my computer desk and my workbench, because they're side by side. I specifically made it a point to go through every pen I could get my hands on, test it, and then I actually threw it out. If it wasn't working, it got tossed. You know, and
So I've got,
what is it? I don't know, but we tend to do that. And I've caught my mom doing that, and I've caught Alicia doing that. It's like they'll stop, and I said, "Wait, why are you putting it away? Throw it out."
Yep.
Neil.
So Neil, have you been working on your place?
We actually renovated the whole house. We started on the second floor and into the basement just this past year.
It looks great. I mean, this angle looks great, seeing the ceiling and all.
That's a new ceiling. Don't laugh.
No, it looks good. I mean it.
Yep.
And so basically, I'm not sharing a workshop with anybody or anything anymore. So I got to fully expand and finally set everything up the way I wanted.
mm-hmm.
So I've got the big bench that takes up an entire wall. It's literally like an 8-foot long by 4-foot wide bench. Although most of it's organizer boxes along the back wall. I've got a big pegboard hanging up for easy reach stuff that I never really reach for. And I was finally able to separate my paint area from my build area, so I can finally paint stuff without having dust all over everything.
Yeah, exactly.
Finally got, I went a Wonderfest a few years back. I bought a paint booth, so I was finally able to properly set that up and vent it out the window. And then the rest of it is storage and display area, because all the old bookcases, we had sort of a library going on in this side, which is set up like a living room. So I inherited all those old bookcases instead of throwing them out, and I lined the one wall at the tail end of my workshop with all my built stuff.
Nice.
That's good. That's another part of it too. Do you keep in your workshop? Is it because your whole display finished plus the workshop, or what? I mean, how do you want to use the space? It depends on what you've got, I guess.
Well, I actually have a big glass display cabinet from Elaine's hobby store. When it went out of business, she sold me her glass cabinets, and these are big cabinets. Yeah. And I was basically buying an entire cabinet for what one sheet of tempered glass would cost me.
Nice.
But we remodeled, and that suddenly didn't fit the decor down here anymore. So I needed some place to move this stuff. It all got packed into boxes, so I have 5 or 6 totes full of finished kits. When I say I set up a display area, I only grabbed the 2 totes that had 35th scale armor in them and put those out, because that's one of my favorites. The rest of the bookcases are kind of empty, because I don't see the point in getting all these things back out of storage when I won't have any place to put the new stuff that I'm building.
Yep.
So I'm gonna leave that stuff in storage, and I'm gonna fill up the shelves slowly with new finished stuff, rather than try and reorganize stuff that's already been packed up and put away.
That's always a dilemma where you know, and I'm in that situation where I'm out of display space. But I'm also thinking, do I really want to keep some of my earliest stuff, which isn't as good?
Well, you want to keep the earliest one. Like, you got to have a
one,
maybe
one. But like, there's other stuff where it's like I built subsequent better kits of them or whatever. So that's that's a common dilemma. Do you keep them in storage and rotate them through the display cases, or what do you do?
Yeah,
I retire them. They've been around the show circuit once, and that's it. They don't really need to be out anymore after that, I guess.
But by retired, you mean you put it in a tote and stick it under a bed, sort of thing?
It's in a tote in a storage unit.
Okay, well, that's 6 of 1.
The other thing I think we also have to think about is, and Terry was speaking to it a little bit, was in terms of organization. One of the things I'm a great believer is the 80-20 rule. 20% of your tools you use 80% of the time. So like what Terry did with his mixing thing and stuff like that. I've got a similar dilemma where I've got a lot of stuff out on the bench. And originally a lot of it was like, oh, I use this all the time. But I know it's been slowly filtering where there's a lot of stuff on there I don't use with every build. And then I've got a lot of stuff inside drawers, whether it was from stuff I've acquired over the years, either myself or through estate sales, were tools like, how many knives do I need? How many carving things do I need? And it's like, I really need to go through and say, okay, the more common stuff goes to the top drawer, like sanders and stuff like that. But then some of the stuff that's already in there, do I really need it?
As far as tools go, and I think Terry, did I send you the pictures of the mobile toolbox?
Yeah, I was going to bring that up too.
The 2 plastic containers. One plastic container has like X-Acto knife and cutters and a basic tool sets, a drill, a pin vise, little things like that. The other one is full of my favorite sanding sticks and files.
Right.
I originally intended for that to be my mobile stuff, but it turns out those are the tools that I use all the time. So I keep them in these 2 boxes, and when I'm building at work, the 2 boxes go with me. When I'm building at home, those 2 boxes are sitting off on the side of my bench over here, and I'm pulling out of them.
Nice.
Everything else is either if it's something that I use more often, it's in a set of drawers that's just on the side of my workbench where it's within arm's reach. Everything else is in my big like tool cabinet that's sitting over off to the side where I can't really reach it, but it's next to my paint area.
Yeah, that's what I need. I need to get a tool cabinet or something like that with a lot of drawers. I have a mix of stuff. When I did version 2 of the workshop, I managed to get one of those used IKEA five drawer shelving units that go under desks normally, and I put a lot of my dropper bottle paints in there because I also do minis and a lot of my primers and stuff like that, and that filled up pretty well all 5 of those drawers instead of having it on like a very narrow shelf against the wall, which was, it was kind of neat. You could see it all, but it wasn't convenient. Where now I've put like miscellaneous finishing products like glues and stuff like that. They're on the shelves that are against the wall, like an open shelving system.
Yeah, I really kind of need to sit in this space that I'm making now and just with some paper and pencils and figure things out a little bit more because I unlike Neil, I'm going to be sharing this with my wife. She's got her sewing area, which will be my back will be, but to her. But I'm going to have it's at least going to be 8 to 10 feet by 6 feet. That's all mine to do stuff with, and I'm going to have a separate spray booth because in tearing apart this house, we got almost a commercial quality vent hood from the kitchen that I'm going to use for the spray booth area because it sucks like crazy. And we've already got an old dryer vent here, so I can vent straight outside, so it's perfect. But it'll be in the wood shop as opposed to in the modeling shop, so that I can keep the 2 spaces separate. And I was going to drop plastic sheeting from the ceiling so I can keep the dust levels down. So I don't know. Lots of ideas, but none of it's really coalesced.
Yeah, I think what we should do is we should also ask our listeners. I'll have to remember to throw up a post on Facebook, and people can submit pictures of what their setups are like. Those are always fun to go through.
Oh yeah,
and get ideas.
And lighting is key. The older I get, the more key lighting is, and so I need to give some thought to that as opposed to just having a couple of crane lamps or something. Is there a better way? I know one of our members, Dave Curtin, which everybody I'm sure knows, Blappy. He's got this fancy arc of LED lights.
arc, yeah.
The LED arch, yes.
Yeah, so it gets no shadow, so it's just perfect, and he loves it. So maybe that's a way to go.
All I've got is an old LED shop light hanging straight over the top of the bench, and a couple of arm lamps, and that's it.
Yeah, I've got 2 LED lights on like an arm, and then I've got a small bedside light with like a really bright daylight bulb, and that works well. And then another one with a standard bulb. I want to replace that with the daylight, and that works for me. But yeah, everyone's a little bit different.
Yeah,
that arch thing, I think I'd always be hitting it.
It really depends on your workbench.
Yeah,
I mean, I couldn't do it on mine. It would interfere with too much stuff.
yeah, exactly. That would be me.
Like I have a full sheet of 1/4 inch thick tempered glass on the top of my workbench. And I love it because I use that for cutting masking and materials and mixing stuff and then stripping it off. But what that means is I can't screw anything into the workbench.
Yeah.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, because the other thing too is like with my workbench, often when I'm doing the unboxing videos, I've got a camera on an arm looking over, but then I've also got one on a tripod for the side when I'm doing build videos or I'm in a Discord room or something like that. So yeah, everyone's bench is a little bit different, and it really, because you've got to incorporate that. You've got to incorporate tool and supply storage, kit stash storage. That's a big part.
Paints. I mean, I got to go through the paints eventually here and see what's worthwhile and what's not.
Yeah.
I just went through all my paint, and you wouldn't believe the amount of glass bottles I have.
Oh yeah. One of the best things I did was I did an inventory of my paints.
Yeah, me too.
I've got an app now on the iPhone which will let me scan barcodes, and I put them all in there. So at least I don't buy the same duplicate yet again when I'm at the hobby store.
Yeah, 16 bottles of Tamiya NATO Black. That's kind of my stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
That's me. I got that. Yep. I ordered that in bulk, actually.
Yeah.
Well, it depends if you need it in bulk or not. But like I've got four bottles of semi-gloss black, And,
Yeah.
you know, I don't need 4 bottles of semi-gloss black. It's just, I was out and
Now,
about. Yeah, right now.
you,
True. At least the Tamiya seems to last for years and years. I've
yeah,
still
the
got,
Gunsy bottles were really good too, as long as
yep,
you didn't open them.
yep. I've
I had
got,
a t I had a Tamiya bottle of desert yellow, dark desert yellow. I can't XF something or other, and the top was frozen. So normally top frozen, you run it under hot water for a little bit, and then I take a vice grip that's gently sized and twist it, and it comes right up. I was impatient, decided I'd just use the vice grip, cracked
not
right in my
good.
hand,
Not
paint
good.
everywhere.
Yep.
Uh,
That's why I love that Tamiya Gunsy bottle opener they have.
Yeah, I keep meaning I got it. Maybe I'll look for that at Heritage Con
Heritage
next
Con,
week.
we'll make sure we
little
get you
soft
one.
clamp.
I
Yeah,
got
the
a
one that,
whole list of tools.
yep. That is a must.
Yeah.
Absolute must, that particular thing.
And another thing would be one of those things from Sean's custom model tools, probably where you stick the glue, the super thin, to me, a super thin, so that it doesn't fall over,
The
like it
bottle,
has
the
done
bottle
for.
holder. Yep.
So that has happened to me on a number of occasions and
Yep.
ruined
Oof.
several
Well, we'll have to
builds.
make sure we'll get you by Sean's 'cause he's going to be there.
Yeah, gonna have to.
Yeah, I did want to mention Neil's mobile
Yeah.
shop, because he does a lot of display stuff his at work, and they get rid of these boxes, these
They're equipment
hard
cases.
equipment cases, hard
Cool.
cases,
What, like
um,
like the metal ones for cameras and things?
or Pelican
Yeah,
case type things.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
The place I work for, we do cutaways and trade show displays and training models for a lot of different companies. And they give these to salesmen. Salesmen need a case to put it in, and that's fine. And every once in a while, we'll get a case back. The cutaway inside has been damaged. Please revamp the cutaway and give us a new case. And the old case gets thrown on a pallet and shoved in the warehouse and forgotten about for literally a decade.
Hmm.
And then we coming around, and a couple weeks back, we were cleaning out the warehouse, and we found this pallet of old cases. And I went to my boss and I said, you know, like last time, can I have these? Because what are we going to do with them? He's like, we're going to throw them in the trash. And there's nothing wrong with these cases other than some of them don't have keys anymore. They've already been fitted out with a foam inside of them for specific things, but that specific thing is long gone.
Right.
And it's not that hard to pull this foam out and put new foam in. So
Right.
the first time this happened, I grabbed an old equipment case. It looks a lot like a very old-fashioned musical instrument case.
Mm-hmm.
It's, you know, it's black. It's got the metal bosses on the corners. It's got the heavy-duty hasps and a nice
Yep.
handle.
Yep.
And originally, I just was throwing tools and a kit in this and just lugging it around. And then one day, I go to, where did I find that? Home Depot. In their clearance section, I found this little USB-powered desktop lamp. And I was looking, I was like, that would make a really good work lamp. And the size of it looks like it would fit on end in the side of this case.
Cool.
And I got it home, and sure enough, it fit right in this case with like an inch on each end to spare. And that gave me an idea. I took the case back to work, and I asked my boss, he's like, yeah, you can fit it out with foam as long as you're pulling all this foam out of the scraps and the cutoffs. So basically, I built this portable workstation out of garbage, basically. But I fitted it out. The lamp fits in a little pocket on this side. The pocket next to it is the 2 plastic bins of tools I mentioned earlier. And Terry gave me a screw top container, which I put my glue in.
Excellent.
You know, you tighten up the glue, you put a
Mhm.
wadded up piece of paper towel in there in case something leaks, then you tighten up the lid.
Yep.
The glue
Yep.
fits in there. And then the rest of the case has a build mat, and you can easily fit a couple of kits, or, you know, if it's not in a box, a stack of sprue or something in there, and there you are. The case is flat on the top, so I can take everything out, throw the build mat on top of the case, and put the lamp next to it, and there's my build station.
Sounds
Excellent.
great.
Well, yeah, I saw
like-
the pictures. The pictures Terry sent me were good. We're going to have those on the show notes.
Yeah, so he built one out for me. It's foam on the exterior and just a couple of dividers that haven't been glued in yet, so I'm going to figure out what I want to do. I like your idea of just of having a spot for a couple pencil cases essentially full of tools. And
That's a good idea too.
yeah.
One for
And-
sharps and one for, you know,
Yeah.
AK markers or whatever you're gonna
Yeah,
do.
or I can do then one with brushes or one with
Yeah.
whatever, and I could
Yep.
just swap out whatever I need, and then have a space for a wet palette or a build section. So make it. I was initially thinking 2 different cases, but why? when you're mentioning you're going to use the same stuff anyway.
Yep.
Just
Just
set
because
it
you
up
like
so they're
making
easily
cases.
swappable, right? So that's my little travel wet palette probably defines the size of one of them, right? So we'll see how that goes.
Very cool. Yeah, I haven't really come up with cases because I don't take my show on the road, but like I use drawer inserts you get at the local dollar store to
Hmm.
hold different types of tools, one for files, one for blades, one for pin vices, etc. So there's all sorts of things. Dollar stores are very good places. Craft stores.
I find for me, like I have the greatest of intentions, and I'll have a whole bunch of these little containers that the same thing you're talking about, Stuart, you pick up at the dollar store, that kind of thing. And I'll bring them back here and I'll put stuff in them, and then I'll totally forget what I put in them, and I'll store it away in the back of a cabinet somewhere, and it's gone
Yep.
forever.
Yep. Gone forever.
Well,
And
what you do is you label your drawers.
I label the ones I'm wearing, yes, just
Yeah,
to be
that-
sure.
No, not those
Monday.
ones. Not those ones.
Those are Monday.
Monday through Thursday, yeah.
Ah.
Oh, beep.
But yeah, I mean the whole thing. Like I've got and we haven't even touched on things like greeblies and leftover
Oh.
stretch sprue
God,
pieces
yeah.
and
You know, a
like-
quarter of these drawers are full of containers full of greeblies, and I
Yeah.
have things. Oh, gee, it's too much.
Well,
And when we say greeblies, we spent a long time casting greeblies,
Yep.
making sheets
Yep.
and casting.
well,
Yeah.
the sci-fi
Tons of
builders
resin
tend to
greeblies.
tend to do that exactly.
Yeah.
well, I have
So-
things like hard drives that I tore apart
Oh, yeah.
because there's such cool stuff inside a hard drive.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
There's a
Exactly.
great group on Facebook called Shampoo Bottle Spaceships. Everyone should
I've
join
seen
that
it.
group.
I've seen that group.
It's
Yep.
fantastic.
Yep. I know, and what they come up with is absolutely amazing.
Yep.
We should actually put the link, Terry, in the what we've seen section
Yeah,
if we
right.
can find if we
I
can
know
find,
I've mentioned it
that.
before. I'll
Yep.
write it in here.
Yep, write it in there. So, all right. So I think what I'll do is when we post the podcast, probably be on the Monday because I'll be at Heritage Con on Sunday. I'll post a topic up, or one of us will, and we'll say, okay, show us your workspace, show us your tips, show it. I won't say. I would say show us your drawers, but that would be taken totally the wrong way.
Oh, absolutely, it would.
I have drawers full of tiny people over here.
Oh, Stuart can show you drawers of tiny people. I mean, my
Oh,
God.
God, yeah, we've got a war gamer from an estate sale. We've been getting some of this
Oh,
stuff, and
yeah.
he handmade 3 bookcases, and he's got 20 drawers per case where he's held his 1/72nd scale armies.
60 drawers that are about what, 2 feet wide?
Yep.
By 2 inches.
They kind of
deep.
remind you of like map drawers.
Yeah.
Like map drawers are watercolor paper drawers, that kind of thing. It's just incredible, and every one of them is full of like a division of wargaming figures. So it's crazy.
Yeah, everything from Aztecs to Napoleonics to World War I and II.
You could have some really interesting fantasy battles, I'll tell you.
You
It'd be
could.
crazy.
Aztecs versus World War I Germans
Yeah. Versus aliens. That'd be fun
versus
too.
aliens. Yeah, he's got a couple aliens.
Yeah.
He does have some aliens as well. So that's what we'll do. Anything else we want to touch upon here on this topic before we move on?
I would add to your list of things you're asking listeners is, do you have any genius suggestions for organizing your stuff, like that really has worked well for you? Because that would be interesting for us to know too.
Yeah, do you have a system? I'm working through that, and that's part of this. The drawers are mostly going to be kind of the same, but better organized, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there's a lot of stuff that needs to go somewhere else.
Or get tossed.
Or
That's
get
the other
tossed.
thing.
Yeah. Well,
There's
that's
a
where
lot
we
of
talk
that.
about well, you were mentioning, Terry, that's what Adam Savage talks about too. There's downsizing he does.
Hmm.
I've got I don't know if you guys have this too, but my father, my grandfather, my great grandfather, all of them enjoyed woodworking, and so I have inherited, including my father-in-law, I've inherited a massive supply of ancient useless tools that I need to do something with, including like a ton of hand saws, the big classic long
Yep.
hand saws.
Yep.
That just look too cool to throw out, and I don't know
Yep.
what to do with them. So anyway,
There's demand for that.
Yeah, there is.
If you want to get rid of them, you can sell them.
okay, well I need to look around and find
Yeah.
something.
I mean, a
Part of
lot
me
of the
doesn't
hand
want
saws Yeah, they just need to be the teeth need to be recut, but
Yeah, yeah.
um,
Okay.
and a lot of us are using Dozaki pull saws now anyway, so the old big hand saws aren't as useful, aren't as in
No.
demand, but
Yeah.
they're still in demand.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
it's like any tool. If there's a time you'll use it, that's great. But there's a time and a place. Like I said, I've got from a similar estate sale. I've got these like various carving tools or tools like this builder obviously worked in resin and in plaster and stuff like that. So little wire tools, stuff like that. Where I can't see myself using it, but maybe someone out there will.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And just a
Yeah.
matter of sorting through it and figuring it out. Or I put it in a lower drawer where I don't need it very often. Like that's the thing. I got so many, you read about sanding sticks. I got so many sanding sticks that it's
When
literally
do you throw out a standing stick? Like I have standing sticks that have absolutely nothing left
No
on them,
grit
and I
left
can't
on
bring
that's
them.
like a pen.
myself to
That's
throw
like a
them
pen.
out.
That's like a pen. You throw it out. It's like, you know what? There's a whole topic about what people do with old instructions and model boxes.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That's a topic for another day, but it's like,
Yeah,
yeah, the only thing I can suggest is when you finish building a kit, look it up, see if the instructions are in ScaleMates, and if they're not in ScaleMates, take the time and upload them if you can.
that's a good reminder.
I try and do that every
A
every,
lot of
every
them
time.
are.
Yeah,
A
but
lot of
there's
them
some
are.
that aren't.
When I finish a build, my advice is cardboard recycles.
Yes,
That's what I
exactly. I
do.
agree. I've got a
And
few a few cover arts I really like still hanging up on the wall, but most of them goes out.
I'm just looking at. I got some of this great old cover art here, like stuff like this from the 50s. You know, I want to keep this. That would be fun, just for the art alone. But the box, you're right, goes.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So, like I said, he's got a hobby shop beside him there right now of old classic, mostly 1/72 and 1/700 scale kits.
Yes, yeah, lots of them, and trying to get rid of them for our family. So
Yep,
we'll
we're
do it.
doing that, and the cadets will take some and stuff like that. Okay, let's move on with what's on the bench. I'll start. The whirlwind painting is done. I've applied the gloss coat and I started the decals last night. So slowly but surely. One thing that annoyed me, this is a trumpeter kit and the fit is very precise. I was putting on the last of the gray upper coat and I must have tapped it, but all of a sudden the engine nacelle, the seam line popped.
Oh
Very,
no.
very annoying. Very annoying. But again, I don't build for contests, so it's not a big deal. I'll just say, "Oh yeah, that's where the engine door opens up to expose the engine."
Sure, sure, we'll buy
Sure,
that.
why not? I also worked on for the 48 and 48, a 148 scale Tamiya Sherman Firefly. One thing I should have done, some of these earlier 148 Tamiya kits had a metal base, so the main hull was metal, so you had to use super glue. But all I had was thin super glue. I should have got a medium, or that flexible super glue that Anthony and you rave about, Terry.
Yeah.
So that
Um, yeah,
that's helped me.
Gorillas, if you go to the hardware store, the Gorilla
Yeah.
gel super glue is really,
Yeah,
really
yeah,
nice.
I have to look at that. As long as it hasn't gone hard. I hate when super glue goes hard after you've only used like a third of it.
Yeah,
Drives me.
their Gorilla's bottles are pretty good.
Yeah, so
So they do
I
last.
I got to look at that because I wasn't able to keep the running wheels or the running suspension parts on so I could get the Lincoln Length tracks in. So that's on hold. And I'm also working on a matchbox again from this estate that Geoff was just talking about, a 176 Matchbox M40 GMC as a club nostalgia build for our club. So that's been what I've been working on. Geoff, how about you?
Yeah, just to tout that nostalgia build, Stuart and I and a couple of other club members went to the house of a woman whose husband passed away a couple of years ago, and she had been finally come around to trying to figure out what to do with his kits, and he had about 300 kits, and a lot of them are very old, and they're I think 172, 144, and then in armor and ships and sci-fi, some sci-fi as well, lots of different stuff. And he was the kind of guy who would get the kit, open the box, look at everything, cut off the big parts from the sprue, hold them together, maybe with tape, fly it around the room a little bit, put it all back in the box, and never see it again. And so all of these kits, a lot of them are old Airfix from the 70s, have dried, tape residue on them that needs to be cleaned off and everything. So you can't get full price. So they're really cheap kits. We're trying to sell them through the club members. And one of the motivations I thought might get guys to buy some of these kits was, why don't we have a nostalgia build? Like, these are kits from our youth. We built these when we were kids, and we built them really badly. So maybe let's try buying one now for like $5. Throw your money away, or you can get a kit and build it. Either you can build it to today's standards if you want to, or you can use the old school techniques and whatever you feel like doing, just for fun. And most of these have amazing box art. So maybe at the end of the year, we'll have a show, a meeting day where you bring in your box art, you bring in your kit, everybody shows it. We figure out some kind of a contest. Somebody gets a prize. That sounds like a good idea. What the hell?
Some kits.
Some kits. So that's been a pretty good response to it, I think, Stuart. And
yeah, we've had a very good response.
yeah, so I don't normally build armor, and but these little tiny Airfix and Matchbox and Esky and Fujimi World War II armor, they're little jewels. They're really cute little things, and I just figured, and also I got asked to build a review copy of a new. I think it's a Gotha. I forget the number, but it's a glider transport from Nazi Germany era.
From ICM. From ICM.
Yeah, from IBG, I think it is. It's Ukraine again, and I think, but maybe it is ICM. But anyways, I'm getting it Wednesday, and I figured I should have some stuff to stick in it. So grabbed a couple of these things from the shelf, bought them from the estate, started working on them on the weekend. They're a lot of fun. I recommend it. It's kind of fat fingers and tiny little things are not a good match, but it still was fun to work on. So, and then I pulled out polyscale acrylics to try and see if I could resurrect those and see if I could paint them the way I might have in the 1970s, and it works still.
Now, please tell me you didn't use the tube glue, Tester's tube glue.
I did not, but I have some tube glue, and I'm tempted.
No.
I'm so tempted.
I threw mine out. I threw mine out last time when I was renovating. It was like, why am I keeping this?
Oh, look, this is it. Humbrol. Plastic
Oh, God.
Oh my.
Wow.
And even better, testers.
Oh, God.
So for the readers, I'm showing them bags of old glue that I got from another estate situation. So anyway, that's what I've been working on. It's been a lot of fun, and I highly recommend it. It's kind of cathartic when you spend a long time working on a major project with a lot of detail, a lot of research, a lot of whatever. It's kind of fun to just do one of these little things and just mess around with it.
Yeah, I've been enjoying that too.
Yeah. So that's what I've been doing. And as I said in my notes, the smell of the polyester and the smell of the glue, boy, does that take you back fast. It's amazing.
Just don't breathe all that glue in the bag. I'm just saying.
No. Don't do the bags.
Don't do the bag.
No.
Don't do the bag. That would be bad. Okay, Terry.
Grandpa's huffing glue again.
The whole generation ruined.
Oh, so I'm the Huskawa, or rather the Wave Phalanx kit, the Macross Phalanx kit, almost done.
Cool.
Looks good, but I broke the antennas, and I'm like, I'm gonna go look for some metal ones that look nicer anyway. So at the show, I'll look around through there. It'll give me something to do. See if I can find some tank antennas that would look nicer on it.
Well, the barrel store is there, and they'll probably have something for you.
Yeah, and then I'll do a little bit of pencil work colored pencil work to highlight some of the edges and stuff like that. Actually, I could do that now. But it's damn near done. It looks good. I'm really happy with it. I also finished up that Harpy from Crusher Joe and Norma's Red Scheme.
Oh,
that was a Shelf of Doom kit. It was just sitting there. So done enough. Looks great. Cool looking little plane. But then I decided, since now I have all three of the mechs from Emily's mech and my mech and Geoff's mech in 72nd scale. I'm working on the Geoff's, which was a Phoenix Hawk back in the day, which is the Super Batroid, the Super Valkyrie Batroid.
Right.
So I'm still debating whether to paint it up as Miria's kit as Miria's mech, or as his mech based on my miniature that I still have.
Right.
Probably go with the miniature because then I'll have my Griffin and M's Wolverine with the baseball bat.
Makes sense.
Yeah, she was brutal.
Okay. Neil, what are you working on?
I am going to continue working on my scratch-built Macross diorama.
Yes.
I don't know if you guys built the really old Macross kits back in the 80s. You could get these little Macross factories. They're like dioramas in a
Yep.
box. The
Yep.
1/150 scale ones. I was looking at those. I still have all mine. I was looking at them. I was thinking about rehabbing them. And it dawned on me, why rehab these? Why not? I mean, how hard would it be to scratch build one of these in 72nd scale? Because it's a flat wall with some details on it. And so I sat down and I've scratch built one of these modules in 72nd scale. So instead of being like 4 inches tall, it's 14 and a half inches tall.
Yes.
And I've been building Hasegawa's armored Batroid to go in it. And I've been scrounging up figures and deck equipment. And I'm just plugging my way through that.
Cool.
I've got it painted and almost ready to be gloss coated for decals.
That sounds great. Curious to see a picture of that. That'd be neat.
I'm sending it to you guys right now.
Okay, yeah. Make sure we get that for the show notes. Almost ready for gloss coating and decaling.
Oh, damn it! What did it do?
Whoops.
All right.
The joys of live broadcast, folks.
Yep.
We'll get to it.
Or the joys of lazy editing.
iPhone is too smart for its own good.
Well, exactly. Okay, what we're reading. I'm reading the same as last week, Stephen Baxter's Traces, but I think I'm going to have to get Adam Savage's book for the way Terry's raved about it. So that's me. How about you, Geoff?
Oh, I got me. I'm a sucker for auctions. So as is my wife, and one of the auctions we managed to be successful on. I got a whole set of the old Time Life books on the history of World War II.
Oh, I remember those.
That's like 40 books. It's huge, and
Yep.
they're really good, and they're really well written. And the one criticism, maybe their maps could be better, but in any event, working on these little 176, 172 kits for the nostalgia build got me into Desert Warfare, and I realized I don't know much about the Desert Campaign, other than that Rommel, was a skeleton and rode around in a half track, and that's all I know.
Rommel's Rod, yes.
And so I figured I'd float the book on the Desert Campaign and start reading it, and it's fascinating. There's a lot of stuff there I didn't understand and know, but I'm enjoying that, and I'm also getting some good reference pictures that will help me when I start messing around with these tiny little things.
Very cool. Terry.
I started the third in the Stephen Baxter's series, the Moon Seed. Yeah, about 20% through, something happened to Venus.
Yep.
And now everyone's getting irradiated.
Yep.
So that's about where I am. Also, reading. My wife bought all the Apothecary Diaries light novels, so I'm reading that and see how different that is from the anime.
Very cool.
It's interesting.
So Neil, are you a reader?
I am a reader. I unfortunately, though, once I pick up a book, will just keep going with that book until I finish it, to the detriment of all else. Unfortunately, between this hobby, my other hobby, and remodeling the house, I haven't read much lately because
it's okay.
I am cursed. I am cursed with this little place near where Terry lives called Half Price Books.
Oh.
Yeah, and every time I go in there, there's a bin up in the front of vintage paperbacks, and a whole tray of them is just sci-fi books for like $1.50 or $2. So I have like 8 of them stacked up over here waiting for me to have time to read them. They're everything from the 1950s through, I think the newest one up here is like 1970 something.
That's a good problem to have.
Yeah, they are very much of their era when you read them, which makes them hilarious at some point.
Yep, exactly. So I put here in the show notes, cursing a local half-price books for having an amazing sale bin.
Yeah.
That's the way we'll do it. Okay. Also, sometimes having amazing sales and going to be at Heritage Con is our good friend at Sean's Custom Auto Tools. Let's hear the latest there. Now we're going to talk a bit about Sean's Custom Model Tools, one of our other sponsors of the Scale Model Podcast. Some very cool things, both 3D printed and the Goodman Super Sanding Blocks. Let's start with the Microset and Microsole Decal Set Bottle Stand. This is purposely designed for the microscale set and sole. Most modelers over the years, they've tipped these bottles over. So this is a very handy thing. At $14.95, you can put them both together. They're printed in blue and red for easy identification. Comes with a black base, and they actually have little magnets on it, so helps keeps them in place. Definitely a good deal. I use mine all the time, and I can well recommend them. Let's talk a bit about those Goodman Model Super Sanding Blocks, namely the Value Pack Combo for $28.99. You get the 80 grit, 180 grit, 220, 320, 400, and 600. Just an amazing set, just what you need. And you can also, if you want, you can also get a super sanding block stand for it, which also really makes life a little bit easier, helps things keep it organized. The other thing too is they have the awesome model tape dispenser for your various tapes. It's basically a 3D printed thing. You put spools of your tapes. It's got a little razor blade to help cut it, and it's really, really good design. So yeah, works out really well, and yours for $19.95. So check out these and other amazing deals at seanscustommodeltools.com, and also on Facebook, and tell them that the Scale Model Podcast sent you. Okay, yeah, we're gonna have to take Geoff over to Sean's Custom Model Tools. Get him outfitted with some goodies.
Yeah, I don't think I'll be buying much in the way of kits this time. I think I'll be looking for doing what you did last year, doing a tool run kind of thing.
Oh yeah, I still bought kits though, so we'll
I know
see.
you did.
We'll
So
see
did
how
I.
we'll see how much we'll see how much happens there. Okay, things we've seen. I found this on Facebook, and in the What If. I'm a member of the What If model kit group, the What If Model Builders. How about a Swiss Guard Papal Air Force AH-64 with holy water cannon, brimstone bombs, and heavens about missiles? And this is Crawford
Great.
Dargy, and he did a fine job on it. The water cannon is water cannon. It's a water cannon. He did that, and he's got papal decals and the Holy See, and you know,
I love the imagination.
I know it's great. It's a great looking scheme too, and he did a really nice job at it. I saw that, and I had to do a shout out because that is pretty amazing. Okay, and then we're going to find the shampoo bottle spaceships on Facebook.
Yep.
That's a group. We'll find that. We'll add that. We'll add that to our note. Okay, so Heritage Con. By the time this comes out, this normally comes out Saturday night. By the time this comes out, if you're listening to this Sunday morning, we'll be at Heritage Con. So if you are listening in your car driving, make sure you find us. There will be a table for all the podcasters. I don't know where it's going to be. It's usually close to the presentation area, but make sure you look us up. We'll have some business cards. We'll have some stickers.
Yep.
We'll have some goodies. We're also going to be, if we see a build on the build table that really wows us, you will get a Scale Model Podcast poker chip. It's like a challenge coin.
So stop by, say hi, and bring Geoff a beer.
Bring Geoff a beer. And you can ask how many kits Geoff's bought.
Or you can look behind our table.
Yes.
And you'll see a growing pile.
Yeah, they won't all be Geoff's. We often use that, and our friends of the podcast, they use it to hold their stuff there. But I'm sure there'll be a pile there.
And there is usually an opportunity for us to buy a kit that we know one of the other two would like to have just to piss them off. So
yeah, exactly. That
that
happens as well. We're going to be doing some segments there with some of our friends of the podcast, so and some of our fellow podcasters. So definitely make sure you come by and see us if you're listening to this on Saturday night or Sunday morning. One of the best shows in Canada. All right. Anything else we need to add? Anything? Bueller?
I was waiting for it.
Bueller. All right. So check us out. We have a Facebook page. We have a YouTube channel. We have our very own website with the web's finest modeling podcast show notes. Several people have said that. Scalemodelpodcast.com.
Several people have said that. Random people. Yes.
Several random people and not so random people.
I'm going to have to look up those books that were recommended by listener Philip Kerr.
Yeah.
Kerr.
Yep.
Because that sounds kind of interesting. So
Yeah, it does sound like an interesting one. I also do unboxing reviews. They're available at blackfire.ca. That's always fun. We have some merch at Redbubble. Check that out. So I think that's about it. Neil, thank you for joining us.
yes,
Well,
thank you, Neil.
Thanks for having me.
That was fun. It was
Well,
fun.
you're always welcome back any time. Is there anywhere people can find out about your work? Do you have a website or you're on Facebook or?
No, I'm not online. Mostly, I just send pictures to Terry.
That works.
Just to taunt them a little.
That works. But you're always at Wonderfest, right? Quite often.
Yes,
So
I'm
there we go.
almost always at Wonderfest, except for this year.
Yep, that's okay. But like I said, so yeah, people can find you. All right. So for episode 154 of the Scale Model Podcast, my name is Stuart Clark.
I'm Geoff Highland.
I'm Neil Prentice.
And I'm Terry Measley, reminding you to get your life in order.
Oh, that's good.
Harsh.
Thank you.
I haven't done it by now. I'm not going to.
Yes.
Thank you and be well.